Hi, everyone. I'm Leslyn Keith. I'm the president of the board for the Lipedema Project and director of research. And I'm here with my friends and colleagues, Gail Straker, our community manager. Hi, Gail.
Hi,
No,
Leslyn.
that's Gail.
Catherine.
No, that's Gail.
And Catherine Seo, the executive director and founder of Lipedema Project and Lipedema Simplified. Hi, Catherine.
Hi.
And we're here for our usual Friday get together. I feel like we should all be sitting with our cup of coffee or our tea or something as we're sitting here chatting and just sitting around at the cafe having a conversation about what's new and coming up in lymphedema.
I have two choices. I have hot and I have cold.
Contrast, contrast baths are supposed to be good for you. So you're doing contrast baths inside, internally. So today we thought we would really focus on the symposium because it's coming up next weekend. I mean, this is coming up just in a week and something we've been planning for quite some time, and it's going to be so spectacular. So it's the ketogenic revolution for lipedema and lymphedema. It's virtual. And so you can reach it anywhere in the world and there'll be replays. So even if you don't have time during the next weekend, you can watch any of it later. So we're so excited to be all the speakers that we have, our sponsors, everybody who's going to be there. Yes, Catherine.
I want to say something. So I want to say that for the longest time, so I started this lipedema journey in like 2010, and there wasn't anything. There wasn't anything that was working. It wasn't only me. It was, everybody. When we would get together, we would, and someone would try this food plan and that food plan, and nothing was working. And then there was this very interesting day. There was a conference, the very first ever symposium on the lymphatic system. And it was at NIH, which is the National Institutes of Health, which in the US, because we have so many international people join us, hi everybody, is the epicenter of research, especially on any health issues, mental health. And lo and behold, I go down to where they have all the poster sessions, and no one is there except for Leslyn Keith.
They said you're supposed to stand next to your poster and let people come and talk to you. So I took them at their word.
But you were the only one. You were the only one that was there. It was the weirdest thing. So anyway, of course, I went up and I started to read your poster, which is in these medical conferences. It's one of the ways that researchers begin to share about the research that they're doing, and it was Leslyn's research, and I'm reading it, and I'm like, yeah, low carb, yeah, I get it. And then, of course, Leslyn and I ended up in a conversation. I tell this story all the time. And I can remember thinking, because your research was on lipedema, not lipedema, was on lymphedema and obesity and a ketogenic diet. And I'd never heard of keto. First time I heard of keto was you. I'd heard of Atkins. Low carb, I thought I was low carb, and through all of that. And then it was really like we both almost said simultaneously, because I said, I'm with lipedema, and that's, yada, yada. And you said, I wonder if this would work for lipedema. And it took us, you were finishing up your research. So that was in September 2015. And then
I'm going to add something to the story that I have not told you before, Catherine.
Oh my goodness, what?
Yeah, I don't think you know this either, Gail. This is breaking news. Okay, so I was putting together my poster for that conference, and and Bill and I, my man, we were talking about, I would just love to do more research. This would be fun. And so Bill said, well, you have some other ideas of things that you would like to go with this. Put a little post-it on your poster that says, help me do more research. Ask me how. And I taped that up on there. And then I think that's one thing that made it maybe worked for you, Catherine, because you probably saw that and you said, well, let's do research then. Let's figure out how. And so I think it was like Bill had a premonition, let's put something on there that makes people, talk to you to try to spur some more research. And so that's what we did.
It's true. I remember it was really amazing. And what's also interesting, because I want to give a shout out for Bill Robinson, Leslie's man, her partner for 35 years. Isn't it 35 years? Something like that?
Likely more now. I think it's been a while.
Yeah. Because the conference, the symposium that we're having next weekend is a result of Bill. Several years ago, they were on a boat. They do boating every summer. They're on the Puget Sound. And Leslie said, Bill has this great idea. We should do a conference. And, the first iteration of the conference was Hawaii, which would have been fabulous, except that there were some complications. And then we started to look for a place, and we found a place for November of 2020. It was our first keto conference, and it was in North Carolina. And then on March 11th, the entire world shut down. So we kept saying, "Oh, it's going to open. Nah, it's going to go quick." A friend of mine said, by September, everyone is going to be back to normal.
Well, they were always saying, just 2 weeks to flatten the curve, 2 weeks to flatten the curve. So of course, November would have been fine.
All right. I can't remember. I think it was probably in the summer. We said, I don't think we should take.
I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah. So we went virtual. And one of the things that we learned going virtual is that we welcome people. I was about to say women, but the truth is it's men and women from literally all over the world. We have participants from New Zealand and Australia and all over Europe and South Africa and all through the US and Canada and South America. We have someone from Guatemala. Unbelievable that it's had this kind of a reach. And on that note, I guess I just felt like telling the story because every time I tell it, I'm a little bit in awe. It's like, why? How did that happen? It was like a magic moment because I left one of the talks, presentations to come down and wander around. It wasn't like a normal time. So, but it was meant to be. So with that, I'm going to say, not only do we have all the attendees coming from all over the world, also have our speakers from all over the world. So I'm going to let Gail and Leslie, and I'll be quiet. This is Bella, by the way. She always comes when we're doing our Facebook Live to say hello.
Yeah.
All right, ladies.
Yes, and so Gail, one of the things that you're doing, Gail, with the symposium, besides the movement Shake It Up with Gail, is also the Coach's Corner. And it's a global coaching collaborative. And so, and some of are also speakers. So tell a little bit about what's happening with that and where the coaches are from.
Yeah, I was listening to the segue, it's all over the world. I'm thinking, oh, I'm next, because I get to talk about the coaching collaborative. And one of the things that makes our collaborative so, I think, unique is that our coaches are so available. We just don't have this list of coaches. We have a collaborative, a group of men and women who care deeply for the lipedema community. And they wanted to be involved with the symposium. And one of the ways that I could think of, and that we discussed that they could be involved, was to have what we're going to. I think it's going to be called the coach's corner or something like that.
Coach's
Anyway,
Corner.
coach's corner. And so at the end of the symposium, the first day of the symposium on Friday, we are going to stay open after all the speakers have wrapped up and everything. We're going to stay open for an additional 45 minutes to an hour so that the attendees can come and visit with our coaches. Not all of our coaches can be there because of time zones, right? So when we're going to do that, it's going to be like middle of the night for South Africa. However, it's early in the morning for Australia, so our Australian coaches will be there, and so will our coach from Mexico. So that's going to happen at the end of Friday. But then, if you happen to get up early or want to get started on the symposium an hour early on Saturday morning, come on in because Coach's Corner is going to be open. And you'll get to talk to our coaches before the symposium starts again on Saturday. And then we're going to repeat the process Saturday night. We'll have a coach's corner time. And then Sunday morning before the workshop starts, we're going to have another coach's corner time. So you'll get to come in, visit with our coaches, ask them questions. We'll maybe hook up with one of them and get a coaching session scheduled. Who knows? It's going to be an open forum, like a Zoom meeting, similar to this, except you won't have an audience. I'll be there to introduce you. I'll be there to make sure that you get to talk to the coach that you need to talk to, and I think it's gonna be fabulous. I think it's a great way to add an extra little bit of spunk to our symposium. So often our symposiums and summits, you don't get that one-on-one time with somebody, and this is a really nice way to make it more personal, and you can get help right then. You can find out what you can do. So I look forward to hosting the Coach's Corner next weekend.
Yeah.
Just think about it. This was a stroke of brilliance, and I have to say it was Gail's stroke of brilliance.
Yes.
She came up with this idea.
Well,
and think about sitting in the conference, in a conference, and then being able to go directly to someone to ask the questions, because we have the knowledgeable people who can answer the questions on keto and lifestyle and comorbidities and different things that happen. It's miraculous. Now, what were you going to say, Gail? You went, well.
Now, actually, this is how it all started, and I'm going to tell a little tale on Jill. Jill says, "Can I be part of the symposium?" And I said, "I'm not running the symposium. Leslin and Siobhan are running the symposium, but I'll figure out a way to do it." So that's, yeah. So it's a
Well, and I think that this is such a brilliant idea that other conferences are going to see what we're doing and they're going to implement this kind of strategy too. Because I do think it's just as Catherine says, to be able to immediately be able to have that interaction with someone that you would have had if you were able to attend the symposium live in person. But now we're facilitating you meeting someone. You're in Germany and you're meeting with someone in South Africa. I mean, so you have that ability to meet with somebody without having to leave your home, and having it as being part of the symposium right when you're thinking about all these ideas. I think it's just a brilliant idea too.
Yeah, I think it's wonderful. Someone, I can't tell who because it just says Facebook user, says mashallah, which is the willingness of God. I think that's great. Basically saying it's ordained. Whoever put that, thank you. I agree.
Yeah.
She writes back, "It's me."
It's me. You have to tell us your name. Because, it's Humara.
Oh, okay.
Humara. Oh my God, it's so good. I hope you're coming to the symposium. Humara and I talked about a year or so ago, and we did a Zoom meeting. She's from the Middle East, and she has lipedema, and nice helping her get on the right track. So, oh, Humara, do come. I hope you're coming.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yep. And I only get to join in Ramadan because I'm up at this time. Oh yes, in Pakistan. She said Pakistan.
Yeah, I knew it was somewhere. I couldn't remember where.
Yeah.
Anyway, oh yeah, come to the symposium. Okay,
Yeah.
good. You won't want to miss any. And all of you, everyone.
I know. And listen, we have speakers from Germany, from Poland, from Mexico, from Australia, from the US, from, well, I would say Megan Ramos is originally from Canada, but now she's in the US. So we really have speakers from all over the world, and our attendees are all over the world as well. So, and if you look at our website, the page where you could register, and you look at the topics that we're going to be discussing, I mean, taking you from the basics of keto to a little bit more advanced keto topics until the third day, the post symposium workshop, is a deeper dive into the carnivore diet, which a lot of women with lipedema are experimenting with to see if it can help their lipedema. So it's going to be a pretty spectacular weekend. We're pretty excited.
And I would just like to add, so often as a woman with lipedema, people haven't listened to me, and I know I hear it all the time on the Facebook pages that no one's listening to them. And I have found something very inspiring as we reach out to the keto community and get them involved with us, and we find coaches. Some have never heard of lipedema, and all of a sudden now they see it everywhere in their practice. Now they know what to do with it, and they're excited to be able to share our information with their professional circle, and it's building. This thing is, I'm starting to hear about it from all over. For example, we have Amy Berger coming to speak with us, and I remember it wasn't that many months ago I first heard one of her YouTube broadcasts where she's saying, "There's this thing out there I didn't know about, and it's lipedema." And she did a whole broadcast on lipedema. So it's like we're reaching our little fingers out into that community, and we are getting responses, and it's extraordinarily exciting for me.
I wanted to point one other additional thing that's happening at the symposium, a part that we always include, and that is we have patients who have lipedema, lymphedema, or both. And so you will be hearing from those patients that are also from around the world, and talking about their experiences with using a ketogenic diet to help manage their condition and the impact that it's had on there. I think we have Canada, Scotland, and the US in our participants on that, if I'm not mistaken. So we're really excited to. And then our sponsors, we've had several sponsors that have been with us for I think from the very first symposium we did. And so look at our website and see our sponsors, and you'll have an opportunity to talk to our sponsors at the symposium as they share what their products are. It's going to be a fabulous weekend, and I'm watching the clock, and I'm going to keep us right on time because we have been told to keep these Facebook Lives to under 20 minutes. And so we are going to do that today because we could just sit here and talk to you guys forever because we love talking about this, but we are going to try to control ourselves and moderate. So a few last words, Gail and Catherine.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh, Leslie, I almost said, Leslie, what time is it? I'm always happy to be on Facebook Live with you guys, and you'll probably see me around more than you want.
So we're so happy to be here with you today, and we'll be seeing you again soon. Bye-bye.
Have a great weekend, and we hope to see you next weekend. Oh, one last thing. Next week's What's New and Coming Up with Lipedema is canceled because